Come see us doing live shows. We'll be in Los Angeles, Honolulu, Baltimore, Atlantic City, Cohoes, New York, Providence, Rhode Island. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets, and only jimmydore.com. So I got one more good part of Kash Patel. He did Tim Pool's show. We should try to get Kash Patel on. Here's him talking about January 6th.
I think as a former federal prosecutor and a public defender who defended a lot of these types of cases, what you need to show is whether or not the FBI and government agents were using undercover operatives and informants on the day of January 6th. Because if you can show that, you know they've been out. Hang on. But the paperwork shows having run informants, that's a 6-month buildup. Minimum.
Right.
Minimum. It's not like they just dropped them into the Proud Boys and said, hey, go, don't disrupt, please. So once you prove that, then you defeat the insurrection narrative with the FBI's own documentation. Forget what the videotape shows.
Just for people who you can't see what's going on in the room, the reason why Kash just said hang on or whatever is because I started smirking and rolling my eyes. And what I meant to convey with that is, come on, we know they were involved.
No, look, I totally
clarify,
agree.
Though.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I know definitively. What I'm saying is a reasonable suspicion is that there were agents. There's a video showing a guy with an earpiece pulling people into the building. All right. Mm-hmm. You combine that with the evidence of Ray Epps, and it looks like you have a preponderance of evidence suggesting there may have been federal law enforcement involved in making that thing happen.
I'll get you beyond a reasonable doubt.
All
Two
right.
pieces of information. Ray Epps was on FBI's most wanted list one day, and the next day he was off of the FBI's most wanted list. There are only two ways that happens. You die or your informant. Put that aside. Under congressional testimony, Jill Sanborn, who I used to work with, the head of the FBI Counterintelligence Division, in charge of all these investigations, testified under oath when Senator Cruz asked her, flat out, were there federal agents involved with January 6th? And she said, quote, Senator, I can't answer that at this time.
I remember.
If the answer was definitively no, having been a DOJ FBI guy myself, she would have gone there and said, nope, absolutely not. The reason she said I can't answer that is because of the same stonewalling they gave us during Russiagate with Christopher Steele, Halper, and everybody else. It's the same narrative, and I'm telling you they were there.
So you're saying that she said I can't answer that because the answer is yes, and that would compromise whatever their operation was.
Exactly.
We said that when we watched the video.
Yes.
If it didn't, she would have said no.
So there was who was the set? There was a congressman, I keep blanking on his name. He was got a southern accent, and he was interviewing Christopher Wray at a hearing in Congress. And he said, did you have FBI assets dressed up as MAGA informants inside the Capitol before the riot started? And the head of the FBI, current head of the FBI, Christopher Wray, said, I cannot answer that. And the congressman said, the answer should be no.
Yeah. Wait.
So that means yes.
Did he say that?
So what?
Did he say that? The congressman, or did we say that?
No, the congressman said that.
Oh. Okay,
he said the answer should be no.
No shit.
Did you have FBI assets dressed up as MAGA supporters inside the Capitol before the riot started? And the FBI guy said, I can't answer that. The answer should be no. So that means yes. So that means this was a setup. Try to convince one of my shit lib Hollywood asshole friends who believe everything they read in the New York Times and hear on MSNBC. Try to convince them that January 6th was a setup. Try it.
I don't believe they read. I think they look at headlines and they catch a little bit of Matt out, and I don't believe they read or look into it because don't do your own research was an order we got during the pandemic, and I think people were like, great, I wasn't going to do that anyway.
So Kash Patel is going to go in and find out all the dirt on January 6th, and he's going to reveal it. That's what he's saying. And that if you find out that they did have, well, we already know they did have FBI informants and assets in the crowd, inside and out of the Capitol before the riot started. He's saying right there that means that that's been at least in the works for 6 months.
Obviously. How about them fake pipe bombs? They didn't spend 6 months on that.
That's right. That's right. We never hear about the guy who planted the pipe bomb because that was an FBI.
That guy?
Because that was an FBI asset.
The mad bomber who made fake bombs, who checked in with the cops before they.
But they did get nonviolent people They did get a Hollywood actor.
You brought down Jay Johnson for Mr. Show.
You got
Great work, everyone.
Great work.
I can't believe Hunter's pardoned and Jake Johnson got sentenced.
Isn't that amazing?
Really, they should. He should be pardoned immediately. I don't know who to talk to for that.
So let's. Trump should pardon all the January 6 people. Is the first thing he does.
He should have done that way back then, but he should definitely do it now.
Yeah. Well, that was before they weren't charged yet.
Then.
He didn't. They were. He was walking out of the office. He didn't know they were going to be charged.
Yeah, but Hunter's pardoned from 2014 for shit he wasn't even charged with.
No, what I'm saying is that Trump was already out. He didn't.
Yeah.
He walked out of the Oval Office on January 28th. They didn't start charging people till after that, right?
With our top nuclear secrets that he was going to give to Putin?
Yeah. So that's that's Kash Patel. That's the guy who I'm excited about as being FBI director. And I've never been excited about anybody being FBI director or anybody being the head of the Health and Human Services or anybody being the head of the Department of
ever
Director of National Intelligence. I've never been excited about any of that stuff.
Never learned the name, so they fucked me up the ass.
Right. So now I am. And that's coming from a Trump administration. Imagine that.
Yeah. Well,
so there's parts of Trump where he's actually being a populist. And again, we have to wait to see how this all plays out. I tell my friends who are overly negative about Kash Patel, I go, you have to wait. You can't write his obituary before the game is played. You have to see how he plays the game first. Let's see what happens. Come see us doing live shows. We'll be in Los Angeles, Honolulu, Baltimore, Atlantic City, Cohoes, New York, Providence, Rhode Island. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets and only jimmydore.com.